William Zepeda versus Jaime Arboleda. This one is happening in Arlington, Texas, 12 rounds. Let's get into it. Let's start with William Zepeda. 27 wins, no losses, 23 wins by way of knockout. I hope Arboleda has got his road work in this camp because he is going to need to be in great shape. And you have to be in great shape when you're fighting Zepeda because he's high pressure, high volume, high work rate, and his output is consistent throughout the fights. He's consistently throwing combinations throughout the fight, whether it's from round 1 or to 12, he's consistent all the way through. I haven't really seen him get tired yet in a fight, right? He has a way of overwhelming his opponents and he just breaks them down over time. He's not a guy to just throw single shots, pot shots. He's a guy that throws 3, 4, 5 shots, combinations consistently. He'll use the jab, but he's trying to punish cats inside the ring. He's going to position himself where he can mix up his attack. He'll hit the body and then come right next after that with combinations to the head. It's hard to beat a guy like Zepeda when you just stand right in front of him. It doesn't mean you won't hit him, right? You'll get yours, but more times than not, you'll be the one that gets caught because he's not just letting off a few shots. Again, as I said, when he replies, it's 5 or 6 shots of his own, and it kind of ruins the momentum of what you just did, and he takes it back from you because he throws so many shots all at once. Now, when he fought Rene Alvarado, that was a very good fight, in a fight that both men were letting off a lot of punches. Both men respected each other, but both men were trying to test each other's chin. Alvarado in the early rounds, first round, second round, was outworking Zepeda early, right? Going to the body to try to slow him down. Alvarado was the busier fighter, but Zepeda's punches were a little bit more heavier, more eye-catching, more oomph every time that he landed. Now, Zepeda made some good adjustments, right? In the positioning of his foot and the angles he took to land better shots that would be more impactful when he let his hands go. But again, another fight that his work rate was very high, very consistent, and another fight where he gained momentum and confidence as the fight went on. Even though Zepeda didn't knock him out or getting out of there, man, his work rate and his pace was outstanding, right? However, there were some exchanges, right? If Alvarado maybe had more pop, he would have had some opportunities to stumble Zepeda and backed him up and gain his respect a lot more, right? Because Zepeda's aggressiveness can get him into trouble at times as well. When he fought Jojo Diaz, right, that was supposed to be his toughest test yet, and he comfortably won that fight. But there was a round, I think it was in the 6th or the 7th, where Zepeda got countered and it stumbled him and pushed him back for a split second. But then he came forward and kept throwing shots until he sort of recovered and got back into the fight. That was a moment where, you know, I thought Diaz should have pounced on that, came forward quicker and let his hands go and just tried to seize that opportunity where he did have the edge and Zepeda was hurt. But throughout that fight, it just seemed like Diaz was just trying to counter him and catch him coming in and catch him with some really good shots, right? Because his work rate in that fight just was not enough and he got outworked by Zepeda. Anytime you see a guy throwing 8-piece combinations in the 9th round, like, yo, that's a crazy amount of conditioning, right? But that's what Zepeda can do. Now, I'd like to see Zepeda throw more jabs and set his shots up a little bit better. But then again, I'm not his trainer. I'm not in his team. And his style has been working for him, right? But as the level of competition goes up, you can't just bruise your way into the top of the division. You got to have a little bit more in order to have success. Nonetheless, it's hard not to like Zepeda. If you like a lot of punches being thrown, Zepeda is probably one of the guys that you would watch. But let's talk about his opponent, Jaime Arboleda. 19 wins, 2 losses, 14 wins by way of knockout. He fought 2 times last year, both in Panama, and he won both of those fights by decision. His toughest fight yet was Chris Colbert, which we'll get into shortly here. He's got a decent pop. He's got a good jab that can create a little bit of space and opening when he uses it. He doesn't throw a whole lot in the rounds, and I don't think that's going to work out in his favor this fight. But he's a guy that's going to try to find your timing and catch you coming in, or try and clip you with some of those lunging shots that he takes, or catch you in a battle face-to-face and he catches it with the overhand right, and that could be the shot that's dropped you, as we've seen him do in previous fights before. I also wouldn't say he's the best defensive fighter, but, you know, he's got a lot of heart, and that does mean something in boxing. When he fought Chris Colbert, he took a lot of punishment, though. Arboleda had a few good moments, and there were some moments that you said, okay, Arboleda, right? Like, I see you, man. I see you doing your thing a little bit. But those moments were kind of far in between, right? Colbert really did whatever he wanted to do in that fight from start to finish. Sometimes you lose a fight, and sometimes you just get beat up. And I felt like Arboleda got beat up that fight. He got dropped in the 9th, a few more times in the 11th before the fight was stopped. Colbert was just better on every front in that fight and a few levels ahead. But again, Arboleda, man, as long as his legs was working, as long as the mind was in there, he was going to fight because he has a lot of heart, a lot of will, and he tried to get back up every time he fell, but he just didn't have anything for Chris Colbert that fight. After the Colbert fight, Arboleda, he got on a 3-fight winning streak. Now, when he fought Nicholas Polanco, where he got the win, right, he didn't look good, man. He got dropped in the 2nd round twice. Polanco, who isn't a big puncher, was the guy who was pushing the pace and imposing his frame, even though Arboleda was the bigger guy, right? There were a bunch of slips in that fight that the ref did not call a knockdown, right? It was just a weird fight, man. I don't know what was going on, right? But he just didn't look good. He looked very sloppy, and he was swinging heavily and wasn't covering up. And that's stuff that you cannot do against a guy like Zepeda and expect to survive. In his most recent fight, though, against Johanton Arenas, he did look better, right? But he was making some of those same similar mistakes, over-committing, just swinging without a plan, wasn't covering up, wasn't using the high guard, wasn't using his footwork. But I did like how he was setting up his uppercuts and boxing more on the outside more consistently. I didn't really get too sucked into fighting in the middle of the ring. And when he was fighting on the outside using the jab, and you could tell that he was getting more confident, and the more confident that he got, the more he started to flow and find his rhythm and find his groove, and the fight almost kind of slowed down for him. But again, it was a much, much better performance than his last performance against Polanco. But it wasn't a fight that made me say, man, this guy is going to give Zepeda some problems. I just didn't see that from his last few fights. So who wins? I'm taking William Zepeda to win this fight by stoppage. Arboleda doesn't handle the pressure well, but the pace and the pressuring style of Zepeda, I think Arboleda is going to be fighting off his back foot a whole lot this fight, and I don't think he's going to be able to withstand all that Zepeda brings inside of the ring and will put forth. Honestly, I would be a little surprised if this fight goes the distance. So I have William Zepeda winning this fight by TKO or KO. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly appreciated. We recently just started a membership on the channel. I don't always get to do all of the videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, you get video suggested priority, meaning if you're a member and I see it in the comment section, I will do my best to make those videos a priority and get those videos done for you. Shout out to all the members already supporting. I really appreciate each of you. Shout out to everybody that continues to share the channel, watch the video, share their thoughts, and have subscribed. I appreciate each of you as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.